Hello, I'm Dr. Alisha Lola Jones, and welcome to our series, Men Who Sing High, where we are getting to know the countertenors of the famous Morgan State University. Next up, we have Ken Alston, who is a pastor, a countertenor, an educator, and a theologian. Let's take a listen to his performance of Great Is Thy Faithfulness, arranged by Dr. Nathan Carter, and see his spin on this classic. After that, we'll get an interview with him. Let's take a listen.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast
So, we just heard a recording of I'll Call You Reverend Ken Alston singing Great Is Thy Faithfulness, arranged by the late, great Dr. Nathan Carter. I feel like this is like a Dr. Nathan Carter festive, like having all of these alum who are doing great things on the concert stage and in our sanctuaries. Um, and I believe I became acquainted with you through friends, a lot of friends who spoke of you as first a theologian, I believe. That I think that was the first way that I heard your name, but I heard your voice, yes, through Three Mo Tenors, through Darren Atwater's
Soul Symphony.
yeah, so various ways, and I don't know that I knew it was all the same person. So that attests to your versatility. So tell us, who are you and how do you classify yourself? How do you prefer to be called?
So my name is Ken Alston Jr. I happen to be a reverend, so I'm Reverend Ken Alston Jr. And I classify as a countertenor tenor. And the reason that I classify it that way is because in most sanctuaries, you'll hear me singing in my tenor voice to acquiesce to the heteronormative practices of the sanctuary is to where Black men should not be singing in the male soprano range, that it doesn't belong in the church space. So it belongs outside of the church space, but it doesn't belong in the church space because for some reason it takes on the persona of a woman and then it becomes misogynoir. And I don't want to get into all of that, but we'll get into all of that. But
we can get into it.
Because the voice type is not it's not normal or it's not widely accepted, I acquiesce to do what I need to do in order to make my living. But on the concert stages, I've always been a countertenor, and feel most comfortable being a countertenor. So I prize myself on having these two ranges. They're not two separate ranges; they're actually one range. But for classification purposes, for people that don't understand, I classify as a countertenor and a tenor.
And of course, I am attuned to the terminology you use, misogynoir, as well as the heteronormative. We often talk about the heteronormative constructs, that which is heterosexual, and we could put patriarchal in there. However, when I'm in those settings, I am talking about folks with your vocal classification and facility. I use terms like rare vocal type, that it is an uncommon rare vocal type akin to the coloratura, the contralto, the basso profundo, and that it is highly regarded and sought after in informal training. But you make a move there that I think comes with seasoning and comes with theological sensibility, in the sense that you are, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you are paying attention to what may be a distraction in the worship moment. What leads you to believe it's a distraction of some sort?
Well, it's singing it's not about what my voice can do for the sake of how pretty my voice is. It's how pretty my voice is to the listener's ear. And I don't think it's much about the female listener's ear, because the female listening ear is just excited that somebody can sing in that range. But the male listening ear listens and hears a man trying to be a woman, because that's what they hear. And they don't know anything about the construct of the voice and how voices are different and voices vary. So if you're not singing deep as a baritone and singing Barry Whitish, then all of a sudden there's a problem. Or if you're not singing high with Daryl Coley tendencies, but you're not singing and sound like a spinto soprano, then all of a sudden, they're looking at you like, something is wrong, and you have all your facilities in the lower extremities, and asking all these questions, and then it innately will then respond to what your sexuality is, because you're singing in this place. And I always think it's rude that you lead with asking me about my sexuality because of what my voice can do.
Right. What a loss, though. What a loss. I often start off my lectures on sacred music using the countertenor sound. And without fail, whether it's recordings of you, whether it's recordings of Patrick or Thomas or even Cortez, like I always, and I just started taking photos. I'm gonna send to you all the photos. But I always smile when I see how they are impressed with the facility. And then when I actually show the footage, how I can see them like actually come to terms with what they assumed they would see had they viewed the footage alongside the sound. So it's their loss, I think, to be so preoccupied with those questions. What do you want us to know about you beyond the stage?
Beyond the stage, I am a committed minister of music. I'm committed to my church as a pastor. Being a, I'll say it in this way. Being a don't ask, don't tell. Gay man in navigating a society, it becomes interesting that I'm always navigating through the world, strengthening my borders as to who I tell what information, just because I don't want everybody in my business. because people will ask a whole bunch of stuff about your business that they don't really need to know, or there's business that they want to be in that isn't really business to know at all. And so I think my commitment to ministry, my commitment to both my music ministry and my pastoral ministry are probably the biggest things. And outside of that, I'm a teacher. So I teach sixth grade music. And when I have other time, I teach.
God bless you. That takes the grace, my friend.
Middle school music. Oh my God. It's a very hard thing.
God
Those kids, they fry every fiber of my being. And it's interesting while we talked about this interview, the kids are my litmus test for what the world will be. So when they hear me as a singer in their class, I'm singing their songs in their range, but I'm singing it as a countertenor. So when they're hearing me, they're like, oh, how can you sing so high? And so when something goes beyond my natural chest voice range and I flip, all of a sudden they start looking at me like, how can you do that? And so I think the first time I played a video of me singing, and that's a video you probably want to hear as well, of me singing Wade in the Water at Riverside Church in New York City.
Riverside?
And when I showed at Riverside, I know.
I heard what you said.
It was a service. It was a service for the commemoration of the 400 years since the slavery, or 400 years since we, docked at, yeah. And I was singing Wade in the Water as right after there was a sound and a tonal sound in the building that's kind of built like a ship. But in the building, you heard waves the entire time. All you heard was waves. And out of these waves came my voice singing Wade in the Water.
Wow.
So, and so when they got a chance to see the video, they were like spellbound. And that was the first time I actually got a chance to see what young people think about the countertenor voice versus maybe an adult. I think when you're younger, you're impressionable and you're kind of like, that's cool. And when you get older, it's kind of like, well, why do you do that? So
right.
I deal in all different aspects of my life, whether or not sometimes I'm cool to some people, and then I have a whole generation of folks that's just like, can't you sing like a man? And I'm just